what is up, fight fans? We are back for another episode of the Parting Shot here on the Florida Sports Tribune Media Network. I'm your host, as always, Stephen Rochelle. Got a fun one for you guys this evening, as we're going to be joined by Zach, the Hooligan Hughes. He's a combat sport veteran, and he recently was signed to BKFC's Ice Wars. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into all the intricacies of that's been going on in the combat sports world over the last few weeks, and we're gonna have a fun one tonight. So, Zach, how are we feeling this evening, my friend?
Oh, I feel great. Just been hanging out, watching the NHL playoffs, enjoying some time. It's Mother's Day. Just got done at the Omaha Zoo with the wife and kids. It's been a good day, so feeling great.
You enjoyed the Mother's Day, right?
Oh yeah, great Mother's Day.
It's always a good one. We got to show our moms love. So obviously it is Mother's Day. So any one of our female listeners, our moms out there, grandmoms, great grandmoms, whoever happens to be tuning in tonight, happy Mother's Day. Hope you and yours enjoyed a nice day. And let's get in some fun, my friend. I mean, obviously, what I kind of want to kick things off right here with some BKFC, because it was fresh from last night. Obviously, there was some UFC this weekend as well, but it's a new day in the BKFC light heavyweight division as Josh D-Day Dyer puts a whooping on the Marine Mike Richmond. I did not see that coming. Especially that they're the same management company, things of that nature. But were you surprised that not just that Josh won it, but the condition that Mike looked like after that fight? I mean, obviously BKFC was not for the faint of heart, but that was impressive.
That was the shocker. I've never seen that big of a hematoma in a fight on pay-per-view, on the smaller shows. I've never seen nothing like that.
And it definitely was a new day. You know, Josh Dyer stops Mike Richmond, gets him out of there. And I think even the funnier part about it was what stuff he was saying in the post-fight press conference that the man himself, thinking that he owns the division there, Platinum Mike Perry, was in his inbox sitting there saying he hopes he wins. This dude has been running from Dave Mundell for the better part of 2.5 years now, having to make him fake titles and things of that nature. He's been an 85er basically for the last few years, running from that dude. Now he wants to fight Dyer. Like, is that like? I love Mike. He's very entertaining for combat sports as a whole, regardless of we're talking, MMA, boxing, bare knuckle. Obviously, he launched his own promotion and things of that nature, and he's a very outspoken young man. Things along them lines. But at some point, does this shtick get tiring to you?
Not so much. I mean, that's what keeps the sport entertaining is guys like that who are just natural entertainers. They're going to run their mouths a little bit. They have a following. They're going to get eyes on the sport is really what I see that he's doing. I'm not going to, speak for him. I don't know Mike Perry personally, but I definitely feel like he is entertaining enough that he's going to do whatever he can to try to get as many people to look at this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I think that's what he's doing is that there's a new world champion. Obviously, he wants to be a world champion. He's never accomplished that in any combat sport. I mean, neither the fuck have I, so I can't say too much about that. But at the same time, that's what I see that he's doing. Is he's trying to do, go that route and try to talk his way into a title fight.
It's typically how a lot of people get them nowadays. It's when we look at how everything breaks down anymore, it's one of these things where the star power overrides, talent, things of that nature. It's a little frustrating for some of these guys who work their way up the rankings, and you have guys just come in off of popularity and things like that. Like, obviously ticket sales, pay-per-view sales, all kinds of play into that, but it's kind of disheartening for some of these guys who, maybe not like, the greatest grappler, the greatest boxer, X, Y, and Z, but as a whole, as a martial artist, they know how to put all the pieces together. They got the fight IQ, as we like to call it. So it's frustrating when you see stuff like that happens and guys kind of get paced over.
I completely agree.
we always get guys, now the big thing is becoming double champs, is winning your weight class, not cleaning out your division, then going up and going after another belt is kind of seeming like the new thing that we've been dealing with over the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's frustrating. Clean out your division before you start trying to move up.
Well, we're already being told that JDM, after beating Bullah Muhammad's going to be now. It looks like they're gonna match him up with the 155 pound champion. Khabib's junior coming up now going. And I'm a Philly guy. I'm like, yo, what's up with Brady? What's up with Sean Brady? I mean, listen, I get it. Like, Styles makes fights. You want to have champion versus champion. I get that when it makes sense. How long did Dana White used to pump us? George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva couldn't fight each other.
Oh, absolutely. For years, we all wanted to see that fight. And
they have to take care of this.
And Anderson Silva. They also kept pumping up John Jones versus Anderson Silva, which those two 10 years ago, that would have been
that would have broke every record everywhere, because
that
just how popular
but that
they
was
were.
12 years ago was when that would have been. That would have been 2010, 2012, 2013 is when that fight would have absolutely gone crazy, before Anderson lost the belt to Chris Weidman.
And speaking of JDM, you see the whooping he put on Bullah, man? Like, there's the post-fight picture.
I did not see that. Good Lord.
That's a busted lip.
That's a beating.
Yeah, but big shout out to JDM. He is the champion now, the 175 pound division. It's one of these things. I've been sitting there saying it for a while now. Like, I mean, obviously, UFC is the spot when we're coming to big level promotions in MMA. But do you feel like they're kind of running out of steam? They're not producing the personalities that they used to have when, like, the Ultimate Fighter was in their heyday. That was almost like a guarantee they're going to get 5-10 guys per season that are connecting with fans and things of that nature. Where I think because of the popularity of bare knuckle, plus the fact that boxing is kind of getting back on its feet again, is that I kind of think that's the reason why we're seeing the rumors out of the UFC that they're going to kind of lean away from the pay-per-view model. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
Yes and no. Personally, how I feel, the UFC is going to do whatever they want anyway. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're the top show in the world when it comes to mixed martial arts. What I'm kind of seeing personally, what I think they're putting out too much. There's too many fights going on. Every weekend, it's fight night in Kansas City, fight night in Des Moines, fight night in, all these, I don't want to say smaller towns. I mean, I grew up in Kansas City and I was born in Des Moines, so I love that they finally got shows. But we don't need fight nights every weekend. They don't need to put on 4 shows a month. They don't need a show every weekend. I'd say maybe cut down on how many fights there are, which that does give less opportunities to the fighters. But at the same time, that's going to put, I don't want to say more emphasis on each fight, because they will be more sporadic. And because back 10 years ago, you only had a pay-per-view every month and a half. That, I feel like that is what would make it better if there was only one big show and maybe one fight night show a month. Make the people want to see more because they have to wait. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I hear you. Like, listen, like that's the era that I kind of came up in, is like right before the the merger with with Pride. Basically watching the UFC kind of engulf these promotions, both with Pride, then Strikeforce, then Elite EX, then all these other things. And they basically bought Strikeforce just so they could have the contracts of some of these bigger female fighters. Then I'm hearing some of the nonsense coming out of some of the fighters like, oh, the women's fight aren't exciting anymore. Actually, I think they're the ones who kind of put it all out there. Maybe they don't have the knockout power that, like some of these bigger names in the world, your Amanda Nunes, Chris Cyborg, as we're talking bare knuckle, we just seen Jessica Borga get the first KO in BKFC's history. So it's like, it's not a big thing to see knockouts, but I mean, dude, look at Rose Namajunas, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, she's a multiple-time world champion. She's beaten, all of the best ones in her division, and just how Styles makes fights, and she loses a fight to, a Carla Esparza or things like that nature. Like, like, listen, to just there's Styles, and she's literally stopped two of the best females in her division. Is she somebody? I was talking about it with another guest before. She's not somebody you might want to put on your Mount Rushmore, but she's an exciting fighter. She's must see TV, regardless of if she's fighting an up and coming contender or if she's fighting for the belt or defending the belt. She's much watch TV. So I think that you're at the point where I also think, as you were saying, like, there's too many going on, and fans aren't nearly as invested as they were 10 years ago.
Exactly. There's no suspense to the event. You just know what's coming, and then you're watching this fight. Oh, here it is. It's finally here. There's no more, oh, who's gonna win? Like, there's no time to sit back and stew on it because you're already having to worry about this fight, and this fight. Then, oh, it's already here. You haven't had time to sit back, debate, and really, let it stew and let the suspense build for it. That's at least my opinion of it.
Yeah, I mean, we all have differences of how we feel the sport's going as a whole, but if we're talking about combat sports in general, I mean, couldn't be a better time, no matter which part of the sport you're involved in. Like, you're being able to have people have access to your fights is larger now than it ever was at any point in time, regardless of the way the TV, internet, etc. all works. Like, you can, even if for we're looking at the MVP promotion in Jake Paul, whether you love him, hate him, or indifferent about him, I still think the real reason we hear his name as much as we do is because he was smart enough to attach himself to Amanda Serrano. No one can tell me any differently. Until he fights a guy in his weight class, not somebody coming up, and they're trying to sell the one he's doing now, Chavez Jr., right? I'm supposed to buy into that, but he's gonna have to go up 2 weight classes. No, you're a weight bully. And then the other side of that, you're a geriatric bully too, because most of your guys have been like 40 plus and up. So I mean, it's I'll respect him for learning on the fly against the level of guys that he has, but they were also guys that were shadows of themselves outside of Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley wasn't a shadow of himself, but he wasn't the guy that was the welterweight champion. But then you look at the other ones. Askren, no. Anderson Silva, he was damn near 50. Stop. Don't even mention the Mike Tyson fight. Don't even mention it.
We are on the same exact page. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I cannot respect the Paul brothers at all for that.
I don't.
Like, Jake's already, we've seen the geriatricness of his fights and the call-outs. Old men. I mean, Tyron was good. That fight shocked me, but everybody else was really. Plus, what is he walking around at? He's got to be.
He's walking at like 220 at least.
210, 220, but he's calling out dudes that fight at like 170, 175. Logan Paul's calling out Paddy Pimblett over and over again. He's a 155er, but he blows up between fights. Shut the fuck up. No. He blows up because he's eating and he's out of shape. Shut the fuck up. Logan's walking around at 255, 260. He is huge. and he's 6'4". Why is he calling out dudes who fight at 55, 70, 45 when he was calling out Stop it. That fight someone your own size. Here, if they want to fight a retired fighter who's their size, call out Anthony Smith. Watch how quickly he whoops their asses.
I got mad respect for Anthony Smith. I got a story about when I interviewed him before. I actually got into it with a promoter because his guy didn't show up, and like Anthony kind of overheard what was going on and was like absolutely destroying the guy. Then him and the promoter start going at it. Then they started being friends after Anthony won the fight. It was the funniest thing ever. But Anthony Smith is one of those guys, man. He just leaves everything in the training room, in the cage. He's a consummate professional on every level. And I still thought it was great after his retirement fight. He's going after, putting a heckler in his place, so to speak, from what I've seen, giving him the bird, all that other stuff.
I've known Anthony since 2011 when I started in this sport. I've known Anthony a long time. He's got my respect. He's an absolute monster in there. I've been in the training with him more times than I can count, for more hours than I could count. That dude, I couldn't say enough about him.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to cover one of his fights. He was doing a Cage Fury here in Philadelphia before he made it to the UFC, so I was actually able to meet him one time.
CFFC.
Yeah.
Another one of my real good buddies is CFC welterweight champion Blaine Richards.
Gotta love the smallness of the world sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Now getting back to some of this when we're talking about like some of these older guys and having real call outs. Did you see that Robbie Lawler basically says he's retired, but for whatever reason he's still in the testing pool, still being tested?
I did.
What is he waiting for? He's waiting for a fight. If he's staying in the testing pool, he's waiting for a fight, regardless if he's telling us he's retired.
I don't know. I won't ever say a bad word about a bad son bitch from Iowa.
That's exactly what Robbie is.
Nope. I don't. If he does fight again, I absolutely will tune in. I got to meet him. I can't remember if it was RFA still or LFA before the merger between RFA and Legacy.
And Legacy, yeah.
But I got to meet him at a show up in South Dakota, and he was one of the coolest dudes to talk to.
I still think that the funniest part, the stories you hear, like not inside the ring, was Rogan was talking about when Conor McGregor's team attacked the bus. And he was just like, people were attacking the bus, and he was just like, "Listen, everyone, calm down."
No, I think that was just a protest out in New York.
Oh, it was a protest. You're right.
It was a protest. So it wasn't even Conor and his team. It was just.
I think that's who he's waiting for. If you're asking me, why else would he be staying around? Like I don't feel like the UFC is going to give Michael Chandler that fight ever. I felt it for the longest time when he initially pulled out. One, I don't know if Conor's ever going to fight again, but I could see Robbie Lawler doing something like that, like just waiting around for that last final payday and telling Conor he has no business to do anything in combat.
No, absolutely. I don't want to see that fight.
I felt Anthony broke his leg. I said, my son, his name is Conor, spelled the same exact way. He was been a fan the whole time. After that fight, I was like, he's done. And he's like, no, he's not. I'm like, listen. The injuries he has, the money he has, that's a rough injury to come back from.
I don't want to. I like Conor's fighting style. I love the entertainment and excitement. Because Conor's one of those dudes that, like, yeah, he talks probably the most shit. But 95% of the time, he backs it up.
I think Khabib was and Dustin Poirier were the only times he didn't.
Exactly. He ran it back with Nate Diaz and came back from that one. Like, I still would want to see it. That's the fight to make, in my opinion, is a trilogy between.
That's what, like, he said he had 3 fights. He was basically, he was naming a couple ones, and Nate was one of the people on that list. And those are one of those things that kind of make sense, regardless if you feel that Nate will get the best of them. Connor's this, Connor's that. Regardless, that'll sell for the UFC.
Yeah, that'll sell. I don't
think he ever comes back.
That is the fight to make. If you're gonna make another fight for Connor, that's the fight. That in my personal.
You're right, Jay. He's not dedicated enough. When you got that much money in the bank, dude, are you really gonna sit there? Like, listen, everyone forgets about his humble beginnings and how hard it was when he gets in there, and when he was doing his thing, because he was hungry. He had to build himself from the shambles that he was when he was living in Ireland. Now, he wakes up in the morning. He depending on where the yacht drove them to last night, he's not going to fight Islam. He's not going to fight Makhachev.
No, he won't.
I mean, dude, you're right. He has to have the eye. It's past him. It's past him. You kind of gather that from the stuff that happened after he met Trump, and just like his eyes are on different things. Like, yes, is he going to enjoy being a promoter with Dave Feldman and BKFC? Absolutely. He still gets to kind of be around the animal element, or so to speak. But I think he truly is trying to make a difference in his, seeing what's going on with his country. I truly believe he is absolutely done with fighting, because as much as we would love to see him go in there a couple more times, fight in the UFC, maybe take a couple bare knuckle fights, I don't think he has it in him to do it anymore. Not to put himself through a camp and all that. No. It was like, look at the Rocky movies. What happened anytime he got the money and was enjoying himself? Mr. T put him out. That's like, listen, it's all around you. You should all see the signs of this, that we are never going to see them fight again. I mean, Nate or Nick, it doesn't matter. Either Diaz brother would work, but that's right, Clubber Lang, my friend. That's right. Clubber Lang tells us all, man. What was the thing about Clubber Lang? He was hungry. Connor don't have that no more. A lot of fighters, it's hard once you lose that to get it back. It's almost impossible to get back.
Oh, yeah.
What did Paul Creed had to do to Rocky? Oh, that's right. He had to put him in a gym in a bad part of Los Angeles to regain the eye of the tiger. Right? He's never gonna have it.
Yeah, you had to make him mean again.
There you go. We're gonna change your nickname for the Ice Wars to America Hughes.
Hey, you know what? I wouldn't be above it. I'm Midwest born, Midwest raised, 12 years active duty. I'm all about America.
And I gotta get into.
If I could still grow out my hair, I'd have a mullet. I 100% would admit that.
You're gonna have the Harper hair coming out the back.
I would, but my hair fell out in Afghanistan, and I've been bald since.
Now, as far as Ice Wars goes, I had to pull this one up. You had to go into some type of sanctioning meeting, kind of sit down and talk to legislators and things of that nature. What kind of experience was that like? Where they're kind of like asking you to kind of talk some sense into litigating? Up there's the little one. Hey, how you doing, little one?
Sorry, my youngest wanted to get involved. So that was actually super nerve-wracking. So what that was, we were trying to get hockey fighting legalized in Nebraska. So, thanks, man.
She knows she's being naughty. She's still trying to steal the show. She's like, nope,
sorry about that. So what we were doing there was we're trying to get professional hockey fighting legalized in Nebraska, because this is already, believe it or not, a really big spot for combat sports.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was speaking on just the Ice Wars portion of the bill, but the other portions are like bare knuckle MMA, amateur Muay Thai fights, I believe, because that's not legal here in Nebraska yet, but there are multiple gyms out here teaching Muay Thai to amateurs. So that would be a huge kickoff for Nebraska. Like Mick Doyle's Premier Combat Center, grunt kickboxing, nasty Muay Thai, and nasty kickboxing. But there's no amateur kickboxing in Nebraska. So we're trying to get it legalized here. So that's on the bill as well. I want to say there's one other sport on the bill, but I don't remember what the other one is. But then the last one was professional hockey fighting, but they even put into it that it was Ice Wars. And it was kind of vague the way it was put into the bill. So they had me come out, because I'm the only Nebraskan to have ever competed in Ice Wars. So they had me come out and actually talk to the senators and the legislators to try to expand on it, explain it a bit better, and try to get this legalized here so that way we can start having competition here instead of having to travel everywhere, for me at least.
We got another one from Jay in the chat. He's asking you look like you're in better shape than you were before. True or false?
Oh, I'm in way better shape. I've been training for this for months. I feel great. Very strong. Last time I fought in Ice Wars, my skate broke. I didn't really have the best equipment at the time. I don't play pro hockey like a bunch of these other guys. So I had beer league level gear. I went up to Minnesota and got my feet custom scanned and got custom skates made. I spent some money on this camp, and I'm ready to rock.
Now you're sitting there saying that your beer league stuff. I was going through your Facebook. Is this what we mean by beer league stuff, brother?
So that game is actually that was a really, really fun one. So the team I was playing for there was the Nebraska Warriors. It's not a hockey team, but that is a hockey program for disabled veterans. Everybody on that team is a disabled veteran. Everybody on that team is not all disabled veterans, but they're all veterans, active duty. It's all military. And that game was that was a fun one. I'm laughing at it because of how bad we did. We were playing the USHL Omaha Lancers, and those kids absolutely demolished us. The skill level was way bad. I've only been playing hockey since, I think, 2019. So playing these kids that are in the USHL, they were skating circles around us. They were good. And we're a bunch of beer drinking, just disabled vets who hang out and play hockey together. So we got whooped. I think the final score was like 16-3 or something like that. And in the third period, at one point, they even switched their sticks upside down so we'd have a chance. They knew they had us. I mean, it was obvious. Some of our guys are brand new, haven't even been playing for more than 2 years, and they went out there just having fun with us.
I mean that listen, man, when you got it like that and they know that you can do pretty much whatever you want at that point.
Oh, we were having fun with them too. We started chirping at them from the bench like, "Hey, $20 to the first kid to hit a Michigan."
There's a great explanation for it there, right there.
Oh yeah, like we were like, "Hey, score on our goalie." Our goalie at the time had only been playing 6 months, 7 months, but he was an Omaha Lancers season ticket holder. So him getting to get shot on by the Omaha Lancers was his dream. He loved it. He had so much fun. So we started every period. We were like, hey, now it's $40. Hit a Michigan. And there was even at one point, there were all 4 of them behind the net trying to get someone to get the pass from the one guy still out on the blue line to pass them the puck so they could try to get a Michigan.
And another one for Jay. He's like, I like the humility. You should have thrown a few hard checks.
No, we were playing nice. They were playing nice to us, more like it. We weren't checking or doing anything like that. Those kids would have probably killed some of us. But we did have one instance where one of their players, who's a bit of an enforcer, he was kind of looking at me. I was kind of looking at him. We were both about 6 foot. I'm 6'6". He's about 6'5", 6'6" So we were kind of both looking at each other like, huh. Then his teammates started telling me, hey, you should go with him. My coach and my teammates were telling him, hey, you should go with Zach. And him and me eventually just looked at each other like, aren't you sick of other people trying to get you to fight people? And just making a joke of, how about this? One of y'all fight us. Y'all do it. Instead of us having to go, come on, you do it. Let's see what you got.
You're like, we're the Bash Brothers. What's up?
Oh, yeah. Even after the game, we were on the ice for another like 20 minutes just talking and exchanging stories and, BS. And it was a great time talking to those guys because they're all young. They're trying to get to the show, and it was a great time getting to see just how good these kids are.
Now let's get into the actual part of it. Now, obviously, you're signed there, big guy. You gotta. They've already made a few other announcements. I guess the bigger name they've added to it is Brian Kelleher as being the former UFC fighter. But how excited are you for this? I mean, more or less, it's the inaugural event that is attached to Bare Knuckle Battle the Border there June 14th. How excited for you? Because we're getting close to about a month away now.
Oh, I absolutely cannot wait. Getting to represent my country again for the first time since I got out of the military. I'm ecstatic. I'm rocking Team USA stuff constantly. Words can't explain how excited I am for this show. It's going to be an absolute blast to put on a show for the fans. I don't know what else to say. Like, I am that excited.
You can hear it. You're just stumbling over your words. Like, I have no words for it. Just put me in front of somebody.
Get here soon enough. Is what I will say. I
guess what I would say to this, like, you've been part of the sanctioning process, part of it. You're going to be a part of the inaugural event. What are for people who are going to be in there expecting? Should they expect as far as rules go, and things of that nature? Like, what shouldn't people be expecting when they walk in? I guess.
I mean, for those who don't really know what the sport is, I mean the NHL's been cracking down on hockey fighting for the last few years. We all know it. We've all seen it. So now, just take the hockey out of it and just make it a fight. That's what you're going to see. We're going to be out there in full hockey gear, ready to rock, beat the hell out of each other. It's all the hockey without hockey, Yeah. It's going to be a great time.
Going along my question. So he wants to know, how different is the technique of fighting on skates versus MMA? I mean, it's totally different. Obviously, how are you managing that aspect? That obviously he's never watched any of the earlier iterations of Ice Wars, but I guess Jay wants a little bit of an explanation there.
So a bit when it comes to the difference in striking is there's a lot more clinch work when it comes to this. But instead of grabbing the shoulder or grabbing the elbow, grabbing the back of the head, things like that, we're grabbing the jersey and the shoulder pad on the weak side, and then trying to come over the top with either uppercuts, hooks, overhands. And then a lot of it's more footwork based because you can't be flat-footed at all. You have to be able to catch the edge on the ice with your skate because you only have about that much grip in the ground on each foot. So you have to be super careful about not just how your foot is laid out, where your foot is properly, your center of gravity, and making sure you can not just throw, but be able to grab a hold and block at the same time, and as not so much throwing, but also defending yourself at the same time. If that makes sense. There's a lot that goes into it.
Does the fight end when you hit the ground?
It doesn't stop. It restarts. We're going for 3 90-second rounds. And at that point, it's more like a boxing rule. If you go to the ground, you got a 10 count to stand up.
Well, obviously, he enjoyed the explanation, didn't really thought about the footwork aspect of it. And I guess probably one of your favorite also, kudos if you get the knockout of Canuck, that's extra bonus points.
I mean, It's going to be fun. I'm very excited about getting to be a part of this. I mean, with this last season of the NHL, when they, instead of doing the All-Star week, they did the Four Nations tournament,
Yeah, I mean, dude,
and
this
it
past
coming down
season,
to
like, listen,
Canada
it
and the
was
United
so
States.
good. What they did this past season was so good that basketball usually owns all-star everything, right? They've been the model for it for the past 20 years, and no one's turning in and all-star weekend for basketball anymore. What
Exactly.
the
We
hockey
all wanted
players
to watch
did,
that Four Seasons tournament. I mean, the
yep.
Kachuk brothers. Oh my!
I mean, I used to love. I used to have a love-hate relationship with Keith. You know, I mean, I'm a Philadelphia guy, so I'm a Flyers fan. Don't really have to deal with him too much. But man, the lineage is strong with them two boys right there. Those two kids can freaking play puck the way it's supposed to be played.
Oh yeah, and their dad was a monster too back in the day. The Kachucks absolutely led the way on that one for this matchup. I cannot wait to take after them and represent Team USA in just a straight hockey fighting event. I'm so excited.
How you doing there, Mickey? Appreciate you tuning in, my friend. But yeah, I mean, like, listen, Four Nations obviously rules now. They are the top tier of the four sports as far as the All-Star games go. I've been sitting there saying it for the better part of 10 years now. If the NFL wants to reclaim the Pro Bowl, have it be at the Hall of Fame game during the preseason when everyone's just trying to get reps in, where they can actually do hit each other and do have something. Why does it have to be at the end of the season? Where none of the guys who are actually on the good teams can play because they're in the freaking playoffs, right? Why not move it to the first or second week of preseason when they're trying to knock the rust off as it is anyways, and let them all have fun? You
That
already
would
have
be
the
absolutely
NFL
amazing. I
already
completely
rules
agree.
everyone with an iron fist right now as far as ratings and everything else goes. They're going international now. Like, that's how you reclaim your All-Star game. The NHL just laid out a groundwork for how you do stuff like that. You don't necessarily have to do that with the NFL, but you have to change the format. You can't sit there and still think keeping hammering a nail into the floor that's been the same way you've been doing it for the past 30 years. It's impossible to continue to do things that way. That's why basketball's now lost basically at all the ratings that it's had. They used to own Christmas Day, now football owns it. Even more so, this past season's NBA final didn't even outdraw this year's NFL draft.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to change things up in that way. You can't just continue to sit there and do things. I love what hockey's doing right now. You know, obviously middle of the playoff run right there. Who are you excited for? You know, are you you're paying attention to the Panthers? How are you looking at? Because obviously you could
So
Chuck down there right now.
so when I picked up hockey, I just picked it up a few years ago. It was only the second season the Golden Knights had. So I picked up the Golden Knights as a fan because I'm the type of person, if I'm going to be a fan of something, I need to know the history. I need to know what's happened in the past, all this. So I saw it as, hey, this is this team's second season. I'm going to pick them up. I like their colors. I like the gray jerseys with the gold on it. I like it. I kind of dig their style, but then when going into it, I found out like the owner's a West Point graduate from the Black Knights to the Golden Knights. Like, absolutely support a fellow vet. I didn't know that they went to the finals their first, year, so I'm a bit of a bandwagoner, but that's not why I picked them. I picked them because they're a newer team. I don't got to learn a history like the Boston Bruins that's going back 100 years. I obviously wanted to pick an American team because I am extremely patriotic. But it was just made sense to me to be a Knights fan, so I'm watching them real big with the playoffs, especially right now with last night's game with them scoring with 0.4 seconds left off of Dreisaitl's stick by Riley Smith. I was going nuts in my living room. So absolutely love the Golden Knights and what they're doing right now. I just wish they were a little bit better than 2-1 going into this series, especially
And
against
listen,
McDavid.
it's hockey. We know how things go. It's easier to turn a series around hockey for whatever reason than it is if we're talking baseball, if we're talking basketball, whatever. So,
Yeah,
just
we'll
just
see
my
how it
personal
goes.
take, because it's just the way the game is played is so different. Even Jay's been getting in there with some more ones, but he did have another one before we get back to the hockey side of it. Are you worried about injuries hitting hard on the ice, helmets coming off? You get the reset too, or do you cover someone's head with their jersey? How long can you take advantage of it?
All right. So everybody knows the old stick gloves shirt from Mighty Ducks 2.
Yep.
Can't do that anymore. Every jersey has a fight tie down, and it ties to your hockey shorts or breezers, as we call them. So you can't pull the shirt over somebody's head anymore. It's not a thing. Going down on the ice, it doesn't hurt that bad, especially with like real good elbow pads or good shoulder pads. We're in full hockey gear, so it doesn't hurt much going down. But if the helmet does come off, they put a pause to the fight, get everything strapped back on. They tape everything to the helmet so that way it can't come off. They do their best to make sure the helmets don't come off because that is just fighter safety. Because ice is hard, and especially with Ice Wars, a lot of times it's on synthetic ice, which is even harder because it's plastic. Not much give to it. So just to protect us, we have to keep a helmet on.
There you go. And then he's going back and forth with the basketball versus hockey question responses.
No,
Listen,
don't start with that with me.
Listen, I agree with. Listen, NBA, the way they've changed the game over the past 30 years to make it more exciting is the reason why their fans are running away in droves. That and also the fact they keep crowning this guy the greatest of all time when he's not. And I have a problem with the GOAT conversation as a whole as it is anyways, because I kind of look at it like I look at combat sports. How can they be a greatest of everything when there's so many different variables when you have it? When we're talking about combat sports, there's men versus women first and foremost. Then we break it down, or what, 7 or 8 different weight classes. Then we get into errors and things of that. There's so many different things. I still sit there and say that the best way to end this argument is a Mount Rushmore of X, Y, or Z. Is the only way we can have a possible decisive conversation in this way. Do I think LeBron James is the best of all time? Absolutely not. But he is without a doubt a generational talent who's made his impact felt on this game. Not quite to Jordan's level, not quite to Kobe's level, things of that nature. But that's sit there saying, all right, since we're talking hockey, is now Alex Van Dan is Ovi now the greatest of all time since he just passed Wayne Gretzky's goal mark? I'm not the one to make that decision. I just remember watching Wayne Gretzky and nobody could stop him for nothing. It didn't matter if you hit him; they had somebody to hit you back. He was one of the greatest natural goal scorers of our era, and Alexander Ovechkin is now the greatest goal scorer of this era. I still think both of them are having in those conversations where I say I can put them in there because they are one of the best of their eras.
I completely agree. I won't even say that guy's name from the NBA. Not a fan at all.
Listen, we all enjoy what we like, man.
So I grew up in a basketball family. It wasn't for me. At the time growing up, I preferred to skateboard over a ball. So it wasn't for me, but all 3 of my brothers are bigger than me and have all played college ball somewhere. I've watched basketball my entire life. My dad coached. I've been around some of the biggest AAU tournaments in the Midwest. I've been around basketball my entire life. From what I saw as a kid and what I've seen now in the NBA, I can't watch it. I don't watch it.
I don't either. And everyone's like, "Oh, well, you're just an old cogger." No, I'm not. I know what I'm looking at. Then why is the NFL considerably got better and better when they've changed the rules?
This is why, like my older brother, he played pro overseas. He retired. because there's a lack of toughness in the sport. Now it's about flops and trying to get a call.
Man, I
And
still crack
I
up every time
cannot
I see that
respect
they have
that
the NBA
at
logo
all.
and then you have the Flop James logo. It's just
No, I can't respect that at all.
yeah.
I believe that when you're a professional athlete, you have to have a level of toughness. If you get hit, you get hit. Finish what you were doing and say, "Ha ha, bitch! Couldn't stop me even with a cheap shot."
Like Jordan used to do. He had to go through. He had to go through the Detroit Pistons. Stop playing with me.
No,
That's what they used to
he
do. You used to go up in
would
the air.
rip
They used
through
to go
them,
and Bill
dunk,
Laimbeer
and go
with an elbow in
ah.
your back. Exactly.
He'd say, "Try to
And then
stop
Jay
me.
would talk a
Use
little
something
crap on you.
cheap. Use something cheap and try to stop me." That is greatness. That is toughness. That's what sports should be. Not, oh, I got touched by a pinky
I still think
toe.
the funniest part when he does that is when they talk about it, like, oh, I used to be a football player. We don't mind a little contact when he gets a grazed by an elbow. It's like it's like almost he got shot from somebody in the 10th row.
It's like someone sitting there with a sniper with an injury gun on him.
Yeah, Jay was talking a little smack. He's like, "Oh, Vegas bandwagon took the bandwagon from Las Vegas to Nevada." He explained it, but like he was just sitting there saying he's just he's just giving you a nice little ribbon there. He did.
I'm so used to it. The amount of shit talk I'm used to from the military. Like I would go to a fight, get knocked out, and I wouldn't hear about it till I'd still hear about a fight. I could have just won a fight, and I'd still be hearing about the fight where I got knocked out 4 fights ago.
But that's the troll nature of combat sports. People don't get it. They say that MMA fans are fickle. Listen, the only thing matters is what you did right now, and sometimes that doesn't even matter because if you got stopped by somebody who maybe you had no business getting stopped by, but just how the nature of the beast works in combat sports, because we all got a button, we get hit and it just hey man, everything turns off.
Oh yeah, I've experienced it multiple times. I'm not afraid to admit it. I've been knocked out. It happens. We're there to watch fights. Yeah, let's go. Someone's going to get knocked out. Sometimes it's me. Sometimes it's not. I'd rather go out on my shield than go to a fucking boring decision.
Yeah, man, I agree with you there. That's just some of the stuff that, and then, we're also talking about some of these other things in combat sports. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Obviously, we've seen that Jose Aldo basically go back into the cage after the fight and kind of lay it out there that he's probably done. And we can all kind of agree that both of his last 2 fights were questionable decisions, and we may have been robbed at least another fight with probably one of the greatest lighter weight fighters of our generation that's not named Max Holloway or Conor McGregor or Demetrius Johnson. I mean, Jose Aldo is royalty when it comes to those lower weight classes. There would be no lower weight classes.
Everyone should he lost a lot of hype when he lost to Conor in 13 seconds. But that dude is still an absolute animal. He's a beast. At 145, 135, I won't say anything bad about Jose Aldo. That dude is an amazing fighter. I've got nothing but respect for him.
He is, Jay, and I think a lot of people felt not just this past fight, that his prior fight too, that he probably should have gotten a decision in that. But I've been saying this for a while, and I'm going to keep saying it. I don't think it matters what state we're in, what athletic commission we're in. There should be open scoring for all of it. You guys can deal with whatever you feel what has to be dealt with your judges after the fact. But being in that moment for a fighter to sit there and know, hey, I'm down 2 rounds. I thought they were both close, but I'm down. So they have an opportunity to go out there and put it in their own hands. Let them have it in their own hands, not sitting there and just trying to guess what's going on at the decision of 3 blind mice next to the cage and or ring. I don't like that. I think open scoring should be in every combat sport. It does not matter to me.
I absolutely agree, but I also believe that something needs to be done about some of these wild scorecards we've been seeing a lot lately.
Oh, terrible. Terrible.
I feel like these scorecards not only need to be opened up and like let people open scoring and all that. I believe that after the event, that judge better be able to
explain
it and alliterate. This is why I judged it that way.
They get paid
and
for
if it's
that.
wrong,
you're being paid to do that, dude. You're not only are you being paid for it, but you're taking money out of these men or women's hands who giving up a lot of their life to this sport, regardless.
Exactly.
If we're talking
Completely
MMA,
agree. Like they need to be held accountable.
Yeah.
For if it is that bad of a decision, if it is some kind of random bullshit call, they need to be held accountable for that. And we should be able to see that. It should not be behind closed doors. This needs to be an open, in public, like, hey, this is what happened. If he can't describe what he was seeing and what caused him to give this dog shit decision, he needs to be able to explain himself. And if he can't, that dude's done.
I mean,
in my
there has to
opinion.
be repercussions for the judges, man. Like if there's repercussion for the fighters, if they, you know, the Paul Daly thing is kind of one of the obvious things that you've seen right there. Like you can't do stuff like that. He paid the price for it.
Paul Daly, Jason High, those things where they're hitting either the opponent or the referee, something.
Yeah, like
the judges should still be held accountable for their actions.
Where you can't act out in that way. Well, a referee and their judge should be held to a standard that they like, you know. And then we got another comment for one of our good friend in here. It's like paid in the front and the back. Super. Listen, in some states, Jay, you're probably right. You're probably right that there is a lot of corruption when it comes to that, especially in the lower promotions. And I don't want to hear any different, because that's where you don't really have a lot of oversight, where sometimes you don't want to go into somebody's hometown because you know how bad it is. That I'm going to have to either stop this dude because there's no way in hell I'm ever going to get a decision in this state. There's fighters that know that in there for a specific reason. It's hard for some of the fighters, regardless if we're talking boxers, MMA, whatever, to go and build up a record against tough guys, because just how corruption does run wild and things of that nature. But I agree with you, Jay. I do like the way that BKFC not only does the open scoring, but has the overtime round. It's one of the things that the Feldman brothers and BKFC gets right.
That overtime round really pissed me off the other day. Not even gonna lie.
What was that?
The overtime round the other day, I completely disagreed with. And I mean, I'm gonna be biased. The Carlos Trinidad snake fight out in Dubai. I've trained with Carlos for years and years and years. I absolutely love that dude. I thought he got absolutely robbed in that fight. He got robbed. I can't even remember the dude he was fighting, the former boxer now. I think it was Trout? I don't know. But Carlos got robbed. He won that fight. They went 5 rounds, had to go to the overtime round. I felt Carlos won the overtime round. Carlos should be the world champion at 170 in BKFC.
I think the way he explained it was just that example of that particular fight. I don't think
just that particular fight. Like I do like if it's close at the end of 5 rounds, let it go. But in that particular fight, I felt it went the wrong way.
I agree with you here. Judges should be reviewed for top. But see, here's the other thing. What I think commission should have, if not your own guys, but at least media members who watch the fight. Maybe they're not covering that night, but like, hey, like if you can get 9 times out of 10, the media knows what's going on. Regardless, I don't know if there's, some type of legal thing. They can't do it that way. We let them sit there and cover rankings and everything else under the sun. Writers sit there and say who, in not just most sports, but just about all of them. They say who gets in the Hall of Fame and who doesn't. So why not let the people who actually know what's going on do something? Or even yet, there's fans that are not biased, that actually knows the sport. They can probably do better than some of these people that they pay to sit there and sit ringside, because it's their uncle's aunt's friend or whatever. That's how they wind up filling out something online, and then they're a judge for a weekend. What?
Yeah.
They've never seen a fight in their life.
Can't judge a fight worth a shit, yet they get the best seat in the house. Literally can touch the cage.
It drives me nuts. It's one of those things where I think a lot of these athletic commissions need to reevaluate who they let in to be referees, to be judges. Referees, I get, like, you should probably have former fighters or coaches or things of that nature, because they know the inner workings of the game. They know when a fighter's in trouble, and those little things mean something. Where you don't get a guy or girl hurt from just having an incompetent Nimrod sitting there with an even better seat in the house. But I mean, it's a sanctioning thing. There's a political line that goes over it as well. So it's one of those things where you have to just trust the process, so to speak. And
it's also training. A lot of these guys need to be. I feel like judges should also be former fighters, because they know what it's like. They know what's going on in there, and they have the firsthand experience to know, okay, here's what's happening.
I mean, the only one I've seen that actively do that, to kind of give back to the sport like that, has been Chris Lieben.
Oh, Chris Lieben's the only one, man. That dude. That dude is a monster.
Listen, man, you get in there and you knock out Wanderlei Silva, and after you just stop the guy like 10 days before that, you're on another level, dude. Chris is a special person in that way. And glad he got some notoriety from that.
That's the dude who gets left out a lot when it comes to the Mount Rushmore of MMA is Wanderlei. That dude was huge in Japan, huge in the UFC. He never won a title in the UFC, so he gets left out of the conversation that he's one of the baddest dudes to ever do this.
How can you say that when he was the Pride champion? I get why you could say that, because we definitely know Pride was corrupt as hell.
Pride was corrupt as fuck. But he never won UFC gold, so that's why he gets left out of the conversation. But look at how many belts he had in Pride. He knocked out Rampage. How many dudes knocked out Rampage?
I can't name it.
Dudes submitted him. Dudes beat him in decisions. How many guys knocked out Rampage?
I still think to this day, if you could turn back time, he would want that Forrest Griffin fight back so
bad. That fight, it made
I think he was just on his podcast too. They were talking about it.
Oh yeah, I saw that on his podcast where he was talking about like maybe doing a boxing event or something.
But what, for your ego at this point in time? It's not going to change.
Pretty much. That's all it is. Those guys
was the light
they
heavyweight
can hang
champion.
up their gloves. Those dudes are legends. They're allowed to do whatever the fuck they want at that point.
Listen, Forrest is the ultimate mixed martial arts fighter. Like, dude, he was a state trooper. He was a Georgia state trooper. That's the only reason he was trained in mixed martial arts, and just so happened to literally fall into one of the best gigs of a lifetime. Why, to becoming the Ultimate Fighter winner and then beating Rampage Jackson for the listen. We should have just walked away right then and there.
That was one of my favorite seasons of the Ultimate Fighter. Was Rampage versus Forrest. That was. I mean, plus look at all the talent that was in that season. I think it was
all them guys.
Matt Riddle. I want to say was Bader the next season?
Yeah, I think Bader was. I think he was.
Bader was the next season.
But that's what I was talking about when we were talking about, like, they don't have the Ultimate Fighter just is not putting out the characters.
Oh yeah.
like regardless of any of the extracurricular stuff that happened, let's put that all aside. The actual fighters that were charismatic, that you could latch yourself to, the Joe Stevensons of the world. He's another Kenny Flooring. There's another.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's so many guys that used to come out from those early seasons of the Ultimate Fighter, and it does not happen. The Ultimate Fighter winner is almost completely forgotten anymore. No one knows. Like, I think after they did the women's strawweight season, everything after that has been irrelevant in my opinion.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you anybody who won it after that.
But that's where I'm saying that's where I say the UFC's in trouble, because they're not producing stars. They don't have to be superstars, because listen, when you're talking about MMA and the UFC, you only need 4 or 5 of them to kind of really kind of chug along, but you need those other stars to kind of help push everything else that you're doing, and they're just not getting them anymore. I don't know. And let's be honest, when we're talking about the fighters now compared to the fighters, these are so much more well-rounded, just for whatever reason. I don't know if they're trying, like, you have Kobe Covington trying to hold on to relevancy worse than any person I've ever seen in any type of pro wrestling form ever. But it's just like, it's just not working. Like, you got Sugar Shane O'Malley. He is a personality, but he's starting to kind of run out of steam as well. That star's starting to die. They're in a weird place. Not to sit there and say they can't recoup from it, but when you're in the middle of a TV licensing deal and all that other stuff, you're asking for $1 billion from whoever's gonna. No one wants to. There's no Conor McGregor no more.
Yeah,
the only other person is Alex Pereira, and they're you're getting ready. You're about to lose Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. They don't make him like him no more. Him and Max Holloway are 2 other guys that are probably within the next 5 years are gone. No one wants to sign a licensing deal for $1 billion right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good point. There's a lot of guys out there who I could personally, I know, that would probably put on a great show, but it's all about promotion. It's all about
that's
the
you're
entertainment
talking about
value.
promotion.
And
All right, isn't Dana White doing more
you-
boxing now? Isn't he said he already said that he's going to start moving away and he's going to do stuff with TKO? He's promoting, Canelo's next fight and things that.
Oh,
You're about to lose the guy who promotes all your stuff. They're in trouble. I don't care what any. Listen, I love the UFC. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. I love the sport of MMA. I think the UFC is a great promoter brand, but too many fighters. You're not getting enough personal attention to the fighters who should be in those positions. You're losing your guys that make people tune in. Dana White, Joe Rogan already said when Dana's gone, he's gone. The announce the I don't not saying I don't love John Anik, and I got absolute love for Paul Felder and Michael Bisping and things of that nature, but they're not going to be the guys that kind of get people to tune in. DC's there, but DC is biased at times. Let's be honest. He is. He has a certain style that he likes.
As long as they don't bring in CM Punk to commentate, I'll be happy. CFFC has CM Punk, and listening to him try to call a fight is just irritating.
I heard Seth Rollins is trying to get him in the cage since they're a parent company. I'm like, we already seen that not once but twice. We seen Michael Jackson beat him up, and then what was the other kid?
What was that guy's name? I can see his face. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I can see his face too, but
wasn't Sage Northcutt, but it was
no, because Sage was too light.
Sage was too small, but it was a similar look.
Yeah, Mickey Gall. I forget his name, and
Mickey Gall.
Yeah, Mickey Gall. You got it. So Jay wants to know what's your base in martial arts? What's your discipline of choice? I guess.
So I started off with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under one of my old coaches, Mike Nottingham. Shout out to him. And then he moved, so I found other training with a few other gyms here in town. But my main basis is boxing, Muay Thai, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
And we were just talking wrestling. Would you ever do pro wrestling?
Listen, pro wrestling is what got me into mixed martial arts, okay?
Right.
I grew up loving pro wrestling, watching pro wrestling, being obsessed with pro wrestling. Anybody who could have go find anybody who knew me in high school, and they'll tell you I was obsessed with pro wrestling.
I agree. I'm the same way. Like, listen,
this was 2007, 2008 is when I graduated. That's right around when what got big. Never Back Down, Brock Lesnar's debut in the UFC, and Kimbo Slice. I said, what the fuck is this new sport? And I became obsessed with the UFC and mixed martial arts.
You're like, oh, wait, so it's pro wrestling, but it's real. It's sanctioned.
But it's a real fight, and I don't have to worry about fighting a 300-pounder because I was, at the time, 6'4" and 170 pounds.
Oh, man.
So I was like, oh, I want to do this. So I went from the military. I went into the military, and immediately all I wanted to do was do some kind of combat training, hand-to-hand combat, this and that. Mm-hmm. But then once I got stationed at Offutt Air Force Base, I found Mike Nottingham. I found Premier Combat Center, Skywalker Ronin Boxing Academy, Grunt Kickboxing Academy, all these other gyms that I've trained with. And now I've grown, I've learned, and I've tried to do everything I can to be the best mixed martial artist I can be.
I mean, that's all you can really do is just try to get better day by day now. I do want to get into this because you've already... Go ahead.
If I ever had the chance to do a pro wrestling match, 1,000% would train 7 days a week to figure out how to really do that shit, and I would have a match.
Now, where would you go? Like, who would you... Like, if you could pick, like, somebody, because you were already seeing how it's changed, and all the guys that used to be the superstars now are the guys that are helping the development. And that's always how it's kind of been in pro wrestling. Now you're seeing Undertaker and Bubba Ray Dudley. They have their own little
the reality show LFG.
Thing. Who would you go to be like, man, I need you to kind of sharpen my tools up so when I go out there I don't embarrass myself. Who are you going? Are you going to someone like a Stone Cold, Diamond Dallas Page? Who are you looking
if I could pick the 3 legends to train me the way that I would want to do it, it would be my 3 favorites: Undertaker, Jeff Hardy, and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Man, those are some special ones right there.
That is, Undertaker, because I'm a little bit shorter than him, but I feel like I've got a similar build. Jeff Hardy, because I just love his. Is
it the energy or the high flying stuff?
Both. It's the energy. It's the high flying. It's the absolute, the enigma of it. It's so unique. I would want to have something like this tattoo I have is based off Jeff Hardy's, because I'm that big of a fan. I saw his, I was like, I want something similar to that, so I kind of built off of something like that. But then also under Stone Cold Steve Austin, because one, I love drinking beer, as you can see from this entire interview. And
no, you're not drinking beer. That was a Pepsi.
I would love to have a beer with that dude. But his skill set on the mic and his ability to just, let's run our mouths a little bit, and I'm going to kick the shit out of you.
Yeah, I still think his perfect casting was being that a-hole from The Longest Yard. Like, I don't think he could have gotten a perfect role in a movie ever.
Oh, he played that role great. He really did. I just didn't like the N-word use.
Yeah, but
I'm already a bald tattooed white guy.
If you remember, that was the overtone of the first
all
movie.
The time, and I fucking hate it.
Listen, I was born in raised in the Germantown section of Philadelphia. I was surrounded with nothing but black guys. Listen, I was told at a very young age, that stuff don't fly. Don't ever say that. things of that nature. And no one should degrade anybody by the color of their skin or their religion or anything like that. Listen, we're in the 21st century, people. We're bigger than that. We're better than that. Use your words better, man.
I 1,000% agree, and I have a really, really, really fucked up way to explain how I feel about race. Listen, we are all people that started off as a white creamy substance that we are lucky our moms didn't swallow that night. All right? So we all started off as a white creamy substance. It don't matter where the fuck it came from. Everything comes out the same color. Fuck what color you come out as in skin. We're all people. Treat each other nicely. And if you have a disagreement, you have a disagreement. Fuck it. You don't have to fucking base shit off race. I hate that shit.
Oh, I hate it. And especially the way it's weaponized in the political realm these days and things of that nature. Drives me to F nuts, man. Nuts. And since we're talking about things like, obviously, mental health awareness month and things of that nature, you're being a military member and things along them lines, obviously when we're going through all this stuff, I love to kind of get everyone's different perspective on it. Like, we all go through battles, we all have friends that go through battles silently. Sometimes, unfortunately, we lose our friends and loved ones, whether it be to suicide, substance abuse, just them being recluse and not letting people know that they're hurting, they're in pain, when they probably could have someone to talk to, relate to, things of that nature. How important is it for you to kind of make mental health awareness something that people need to have somebody to go to? I talk about it like when I do my football shows and I'm talking to some of these guys who are in the NFL Players Association. Just, I want to make sure everyone kind of has this platform to sit there and say, hey, listen, you're not alone.
Listen, I am so glad that you brought this up, because this is why I'm a part of the organization, the Nebraska Warriors, because it is a hockey program based on getting veterans back together. But that's what it is for, is to prevent the 22 a day, because that is the ratio, is that we lose 22 veterans a day to mental health and suicide. So Nebraska Warriors has brought this program. And the Warriors is a nationwide program. There's a Philly Warriors. I just played them in St. Louis a couple months ago. But the Warriors program nationwide, for veterans that are listening, you got to find it, because they will help teach you how to play hockey. When we all get out of the military, almost everyone says they don't miss the job, they miss the people. Well, that's what the Warriors is all about, is bringing that camaraderie, that brotherhood back into hockey and into the veterans community, using hockey. So that way we can all get together, have someone to lean on, and we can finally get rid of this 22 a day. Get rid of the stigma. You have someone to talk to. You have someone to call. They'll come check on you. I can think of instances from the Warriors program in Kansas City where somebody thought that someone was going through something. Nobody could get a hold of them. They had some awkward conversations. They went and kicked down that dude's door to make sure he was okay. They also helped fix it later, but, they made sure he was okay, and that is what we're here to do, is to make sure we are all okay as veterans, mentally, emotionally, physically, that we're all here together and try to build, a good, solid platform for guys to get together, guys and gals, to finally beat the stigma, beat this mental illness, these mental issues, and really lean on each other and give each other help without being looked down on about it.
And yeah,
sorry, kind of got on my soapbox.
Crazy. I mean, listen, I'm in a military family. My grandfather, flew planes, in 2 different wars. My uncle was a reserve service member through Gulf War and part of the Afghan War as well. Listen, I remember watching the end of American Sniper, where that end of that movie destroyed me. Like, dude, he was just trying to help somebody who was having a bad time, and that's what got him. after all that stuff he'd been through. That's what took Chris Kyle away from us. So yes, like we all need to have an outlet for somebody, for something, wounded veterans. There's all kinds of different things where people get it. It's being strong enough to say I'm not in the right place. I need help. I need someone to talk to, and having the resources to go and pick up a phone and go online and figure out a place where you can find somebody to help you. Just I still think the strongest thing that a man or woman could do is say they're not in the right place and they need help.
Exactly.
Like we're talking about wrestlers and we're talking about fighters. Like, listen, that's the biggest fight that we all have to have. I guarantee you, the however many people are tuning in right now, I'm probably sure that you either know of right now at least one or two people that could probably use some help, regardless of what different aspect it is, because we all bury our pain in our own way. So it's one of these things.
Absolutely.
I'll always sit there and divulge my platform to highlight, to attempt to connect as many people as I can, regardless if it's through the sport, through the conversations we have. Listen, whatever we do, it's still never going to be enough. It's never going to be enough.
Absolutely, I completely agree. Any veteran who ever needs anything, you can find me really easily on social media. I will help you out anytime, any chance I can. Do everything I can, and I can try to do my best to push you in contact with. If I can't help you physically, I can get you in contact with people anywhere and try to get you the help you need. That's what I'm here to do.
Listen, that's all we really can do is kind of help be a bridge, or at least until we can get them to somebody who could help them on a professional level. Listen, like I said, I have no problem giving 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes out of an interview that I'm doing to make sure somebody else is all right. Like, listen, it's more than just how many people tune in or don't tune in. Listen, that means absolutely nothing if I connect two people or one person per interview. That's enough for me. Like, you people don't really understand how much it is to have a listening ear to somebody to talk to your problems, your BS, whatever it is you're going through, and actually be able to understand and connect to. It's I think probably the most beautiful
for doing that.
Huh?
I said absolutely, and thank you, sir, for doing that.
Listen. It doesn't. To me, like it doesn't matter. It's all like, listen. If I can help, great. But if I can help somebody that's in a bad spot, even better, because we don't know, man. Like, we can sit there. We all have a way we mask things and we put on a mask when we go out and put out in the public. But, like, listen. It's like I said, it's never going to be enough. 22 a day. It's never going to get down to 2 a day. It's just, no matter what we do, we're gonna miss in some instance. As we were talking about leading up into the draft, there's a kid who wound up killing himself because of something that he was going through in his life. He was having some legal troubles and things of that nature. And being on about to be, he was probably going to be one of the top 2 round draft picks. His life was about to change regardless of what was happening. Now it's not. He doesn't even have a life. One of his teammates was wearing his number pin on his lapel as he was being drafted. And it's one of these things. It doesn't matter if we're talking veterans, if we're talking former players, current players, college players, high school. Like, listen, we're never going to be able to cover the vast majority that is the world we live in, regardless if we're talking North America, Canada, South America, Russia, Australia. It's there's somebody somewhere going to be going through something, and they're going to feel like they're the only person in this world that could be possibly going through it. When in reality, they probably have millions of people that they could probably relate with. They just don't know. And as crazy as our world has changed through connecting, social media and the podcasting world and stuff like that, compared to how we used to consume news and things 20, 30 years ago, I think we're going pretty far, but it's still not enough, unfortunately.
It is unfortunate, but we can still try.
Yeah, and we will try. We will.
You're trying. I'm trying. The Warriors program here in the U.S. is really working hard for the veterans. We have tournaments all over the country now for just veterans that are to try to build up, camaraderie. And I mean, shit still gets a little rough out there because it's hockey, but I'd still go help out any one of those guys that I got rough with, and had some issues with. If they called me today, I'd still come help them out. And that's what we need more of in this world, is people willing to help out when people reach out.
Jay wanted to know, have you ever have any depression when you were fighting? You mentioned you had some tough losses. How did you cope?
I'm fortunate enough that I have a lot of good people around me. When I have gone through some rough losses, my wife, my brothers, my dad. I got a lot of good friends, a lot of good people around me. I'm able to get through it when I do get down and depressed. But again, I have my brethren with the Nebraska Warriors. Another couple teams I play with, the Omaha Comrades, the Menace to Sobriety, the War Pigs. To shout out all the other teams I've been playing with lately, and they always help me cheer up. They help me get through it. They let me know that, what, still breathing, right? Yeah, let's go have some fun. Let's drink some beers, play some hockey. We'll deal with that shit later.
Yeah, man. And listen, like I said, it's good to have a good team or a good group around you. I still say that the most successful athletes and people in the world are the ones that have that family. You got your wife, your significant other. Some people be surprised how much your kids can kind of get you through some of your tough times too. Like, the people underestimate that more than anything, I think. And do we have kids that are fatherless or motherless because they're no longer with us because they chose a way out? Yeah, we do, but that's not necessarily always the case. More often than not, that's a reason why they won't. At least when they're young kids of that nature. But it's special to kind of have that system at home, and those are like I said, 9 times out of 10, the most successful people in the world is people that have that family aspect to kind of help them through some of those rougher times and things of that nature. So, wanted to get one more BKFC I want out of you. I don't know if you've seen this. Andre Arlovsky's going to be fighting in Texas.
Andre Arlovsky, wow, the pit bull.
Yeah, man.
That was my wife's favorite heavyweight for years until I got to heavyweight. Because a lot of people don't know this. I used to be a 6'6" middleweight.
Oh, man.
But no, the pit bull signing with BKFC, that is a big sign.
I mean, yeah, he's up there. I remember seeing
he's
him.
A legend. I love the dude's fighting style. I'm a little worried with how long he's been in the game. With him signing with another combat sport, he's one of those ones where I don't want to be disrespectful when saying it, but it might be about time to hang him up, bud.
Yeah, it might be his retirement fight, man. Like, listen, I remember seeing Arlovsky fight Anthony Johnson at World Series of Fighting here in Atlantic
remember
City.
That fight.
He broke Andre's jaw, and he still made it through the entire fight. Like, Andre Arlovsky has a special quality about him. Like,
he was even on Bully Beatdown back in the day, the MTV2 show with Mayhem Miller.
You're going into my fields right there with the Bully Beatdown.
I've been a fan of him I know that. I've been a fan of his for a long time. His old fights with like Frank Mir.
That's my heavyweight there. Dude.
That is that's why I love the fact that he is still fighting, because I love watching him fight. He's a great fighter. But also, like, I don't want to see him have to go out with like some of these other guys we have seen. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to seem like I'm being disrespectful. But there's some dudes who should have retired years ago and that are still fighting.
But we all know why that is, just because how dirty the fight game is.
It is, but at the same time, I hate seeing it, and I don't want
But that's
Andre
what
to be the next one.
Jay's sitting there saying here. He's been knocked out a lot. CTE. We can't listen. We're not going to know if he has CTE. One, if anyone's watched the movie Concussion, the only way we're going to find out is his family allows his brain to be, dissected to see if he has CTE, because we still haven't have a known case in it where we've had it in MMA, because the sport's only 20 30 years old, so it's like we still in that gray area as far as MMA goes. But as Zach was just alluding to, there's plenty of guys that hold on too long because they're still fighting the dollars that they should have gotten while they were in their heyday, just because bad managers, crappy promoter, etc.
Yep.
So it's one of these things, man. Like, unfortunately, the fight game's a dirty game. I mean, shit.
It really is.
There's so many instances we can go, and it's not that we don't even have to just go with anything that the UFC's done per se. It's just the way the combat sports goes and how it's promoted, how it's presented, everything like that. It's just we're not in a state where they're making millions and millions of dollars like how some NFL players make. NBA players. Baseball's the worst, man. They get ridiculous amount of money, but in their defense, they play 162 plus another 30 some odd games if they make it to a World Series. That's they're going.
Hockey players need to make as much as that.
Like the middle of October.
Hockey players need to make more than baseball players. They play damn near just as much and actually endure actual hits.
I think that you should probably flip that. You should probably
82 game seasons where they're getting hit like NFL players. Like, come on.
How much of it's money? How much of it is the thrill of the fight and not letting go, or is money the main issue? I think 9 times out of 10, in my opinion, I'm gonna give this to Zach in a second. In my opinion, 9 times out of 10, they're still chasing the money they should have got. But there are the very few athletes that do it for the thrill of it. Go ahead, Zach.
Probably a little bit of both, because I haven't made jack shit in this game yet. I'll be the first one to admit that. I don't make much doing this stuff. I just do it because I love it. So it might be a mixture of both.
And just so we're clear, Jay, as far as the money thing goes. Most of the fighters like Zach here, they're probably getting 1-1 or 5-5. Maybe if they get a good promoter, it's 10-10. But the people who really make money are like UFC level top ranked boxing guys.
Top tier boxing, top tier MMA.
And I don't think top tier MMA is in that level yet. They're not even in that conversation, because some of the bad boxers get way more money than good MMA fighters. And it's going to be interesting to see what TKO and Dana White does in the whole boxing realm as a whole, as it is anyways. But it's definitely one I think a lot of people are going to have their eyes on to see how it goes. I don't foresee guys becoming millionaires or billionaires doing boxing with TKO. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think the guys are bad guys or anything like that. I just think it's not smart for them business wise to make millionaires and billionaires. It's in their best interest to become millionaires or billionaires. So yeah, I kind of agree. I've been to boxing events. I've been to MMA fights. I've been to UFC pay-per-views at Wells Fargo's Guest Center. I was fortunate enough to cover BKFC at Knucklemania at Wells Fargo. That was another experience as well. It took me back to the Legion of Doom days hearing "Fuck you, Stevens" being chanted through the Wells Fargo Center. But yeah, boxing is one of the very few top tier in-person sporting events that we have here in the United States.
But also, if you were at Knuckle Mania, you got to see one of my teammates and one of my brothers absolutely go to work at that show.
See, my kids seen it because I was the first time I was actually doing media for them, and I was working with Susan Singari of Bare Knuckle News, so I was in the back, kind of just bringing fighters when we were doing interviews. So every once in a while, I kind of got to pop my head out there.
Everybody saw that knockout though. Brandon Meyer is my boy. Love that dude.
Yeah, there was a couple good guys in that one. I felt bad for Patty Sullivan for sure.
He got a nasty knockout that night, and he did this tattoo on me.
And he wanted to appreciate the answer. Listen, these guys don't get paid enough for the amount of hype that some of them get and things of that nature. Combat sports athlete are the most underpaid athletes in professional sports, point blanket, period.
I do this because I love it and I feel like I was born for it. I'm not worried about my paycheck. I'm doing it because I love it.
I would say it like this. Think of it like Olympic level athletes. They get all the fame and glory and all this stuff, and they don't get paid a damn thing. They get nothing in return. There's some of these guys and girls go out there on Olympic events, and then you never hear from them ever again because they have to go and work a 9 to 5 to kind of go by day. I would say think of it along them lines where you get all this glory and everything like that. And the end of the day, you have nothing to show for it. That's the kind of the best analogy I could come up for you, Jay.
Oh yeah.
But as we get ready to wrap this one up, wanted to just get one more last chance in there to talk about BKFC Ice Wars. We're about a little bit more than a month away, June 14th, and then there's another event, the 28th, right? That's going to be in
that's
Canada.
up in, I want to say Edmonton. I can't tell. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. That one's up in Canada. I don't have my passport yet, but we're still working on that. For me to do the international fights for BKFC Ice Wars, but I'm working on that portion. But Ice Wars is going to be one of the next top tier promotions for combat sports. This is an absolutely unique combat sport with it being hockey and fighting and putting it out there in the absolute best way that it can be. It's an absolutely amazing show. It's great to be a part of it. Like, I even had a question today about some of the stuff going on for the promotion and stuff like that. The CEO himself said, yeah, here, call me. Shout out to Charlie Nama. He's a great dude. And getting everything done there. And it's gonna, like, this is going to be big. Like, this is going to be fun. Who doesn't love seeing...
I think it's hockey fights. Ice Wars is going to be what everyone was hyping slap fight up to be.
It's going to be way better than slap fighting.
Oh,
slap fighting is you just take turns. This is a fight. This is an actual fight.
Yes, and this will transfer everywhere because all right, listen,
there's an old phrase
USA and Canada involved. What happens when you get Europe and Russia involved?
Oh yeah, and when I can't wait for that to happen. But then also there's an old phrase in the hockey community of I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. This is what we're here to do. This is a big part of hockey that has been trying to be put away. And now we're going to put it at center stage and we're going to put on a show.
I think you guys will. And apparently Jay's running off and he wants to send his goodbyes. Appreciate the answers and the education on BKF's Ice Wars. Good luck. I'll be rooting you. Knock that Canuck out. Appreciate you hopping in there, Jay. We are getting ready to wrap things up here tonight. Zach, what I typically do here at the end is kind of throw the proverbial microphone over to you. Anyone would like to thank, shoot out teammates, training partners, shoot out your social media sites, any sponsors you may have, or any other message you kind of want to send to the people tonight that we didn't touch on. The time is yours, my friend.
All right. I want to thank everybody who's tuned in and listened to me. I'm not the most well-spoken person, but I appreciate you listening to my, spew out sports information. Thank you to everybody who supports me. You can find me on Facebook. It's just my personal page. If you want to follow me on X, it's Hooligan39. I want to give thanks to all my coaches, my sponsors, James Jenkins, Leo Foster, Chrissy Deadpool Salda. I've got a million people I want to thank. I couldn't come up with all of them off the top of my head. This has been an amazing podcast. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate everything that you guys have asked me, all the questions asked. Thank you so much. I don't even know what to say at that point. I'm not the type to sit here and toot my own horn. I just appreciate you guys listening to me.
Well, appreciate you hopping on tonight, BS, and I did just give you a follow on X, and that's probably where I'm probably the most active. Shot a few retweets out from your post in there. Hopefully, one thing's for sure. Hopefully, we'll get you back on. After the event, see if we can help kind of promote Ice Wars some more. Obviously, we're hoping that this is something that is going to kind of stick around and grow and be something, an outlet for some of these people, because the old time hockey's dead. It's something that the NHL is willingly kind of filtered away from. I was talking to Frank Bialois, and he was sitting there saying one of the things about the way they used to do things is that guys didn't take liberties with guys. It was handled right then and there on the ice, and there was none of that extra stuff. It's also kind of developed soft players, and I don't necessarily disagree with him. Obviously, he came up in an age where it was nasty.
I completely agree.
So
I love physical hockey, and it needs to continue.
Listen, man, a physical hockey ended a potential cup run for my Flyers. I should hate it, but listen. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. If Scott Stevens doesn't knock Eric Lindros out, how does that team not win at least 2 Stanley Cups? But no, the last ones to win it were who? The Broad Street Bullies. So I mean, it's kind of like the scale weighs itself out. It's one of those things where it's like you have to accept what it is. It just you have to play hockey a certain way now. They're doing away with a lot of the contact, and I get it for some reasons, but at the same time, you're stealing something from the game. You're even to the point they're creating that BKFC is now getting involved in ice fights to that effect. So what's going to happen when they're going to be paying guys better to do what they love to do, and so they won't have to sit? Well, I don't have to play hockey to do this anymore. I can just
come out here and just throw hands.
I could just do what I love to do, and I don't have to worry about a stick, a puck, an icing, or nothing.
Exactly.
So, definitely appreciate the time, Zach, and hopefully you stay healthy. Best of skill in your fight. Do you know who you're fighting yet, or is it still kind of up in the air?
I know who I'm fighting. I'm just not allowed to say yet.
I'm not gonna try to pull it out of you, brother. I know how that goes.
You're good. No, it's fun. It's gonna be a fun fight, though.
I'm looking forward to all of it, my friend. I think you guys are gonna have fun. I think it's gonna be an enjoyable things for the fans, and
I'm just here to represent Team USA and go out there and put hands on some Canadians at this point.
As Jay said, you're going out there to knock out a Canuck.
Oh yeah,
right. Buy him a beer afterwards.
So stoked to get to represent my country again in another combat sport.
Oh man,
in another version of combat, at least.
Well, I definitely appreciate the time this evening, Zach, and we'll definitely got to do it again sometime here in the future.
Absolutely. I hope I was fun to talk to.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed it. We almost went 2 hours. We're about 1 hour and 39 minutes. I think it was a pretty good conversation. I think
awesome. I appreciate it.
we touched all the bases. I don't think there's a conversation that we could have had that we didn't have. It's one of those interviews you were at the end of it. You're like, well, I enjoyed that. We need to do that again sometime.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it, and have me on anytime. I love just sitting here BSing about sports. I love it.
Well, you can always hop on with us if there's something you want to talk about, and there's a particular program that we're talking about something you want to. Let us know, man. We'll definitely get you and hop in.
I would love to be a part of it.
I'll keep that in mind, and when we're doing some more things in the future, and listen, I'll keep you in the loop, my friend.
Sounds good. Just let me know.
Will do. Appreciate your time. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, my friend.
Yes, sir. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. We got to say it one more time before we hop off.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Appreciate your time, Zach. Catch up with you on the rebound, my friend.
Yes, sir.
All right, everyone. That was the Hooligan, Zach Hughes. He's going to be one of these guys that's going to be competing in BKFC Ice Wars here June 14th. It's going to be a fun one. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resorts. Going to be a great event. Looking forward to all the fun stuff that's going to be BKFC with what they're bringing with Ice Wars. Other than that, this was another fun one in the books. Couldn't ask for a better time than I appreciate all the comments in the chat room. But I'm going to put a bell on this one and get ready to see you guys next week. Another busy handful of days. I got a busy one tomorrow. We're going to have a few more interviews, and then the professor and the pupil. And then Tuesdays we're going to have Inside the Pigskin. Wednesdays it's me, Ben Troop for the fan in the end. Hopefully we'll get Luther back on there as well. Other than that, I'm Steve. This was another episode of The Parting Shot here on the Florida Sports Tribune Media Network, and I'll catch you guys later, guys. Peace out.